Hello, welcome to the channel. It's almost the end of the year and I'm prepped up for my 2023 bullet journal setup. Got this A5 dotted notebook. And as usual, I won't be splitting this book, be using it for all the 12 whole months like I've managed to all these years of bullet journaling. I've also done up my simple cover, embossed it with embossing powder. You can see a short video of how I've been doing that on the video linked above. But for now, like always, I'll cover my book with a PVC cover. It's actually for a B5 size, but I've always preferred larger ones, the more protected my book be. So without further ado, let's get started, shall we? Clipping things up. Using a 0.5 micron pen for this. Gotta place a rough paper for protection, a habit to avoid potential bleeding. Wanted to put one of my favorite quotes about life. Be using these two Tombow markers, 603 and 636. Using these washi tape designs that I seldom use. We'll also be using this darker purple tape. I intend to make a quadrant there. Using my mini cutting mat, I'll trim off these tape ends. Using my Daiso tape cutter for this end of the tapes. Also using my rounded corner puncher to trim the corner there. Taping up the top too. Gonna make another semicircle there too. Be using this size from the stencil. I line it up to this tape, but protecting the back with my cutting mat first. Using a craft knife, I'll attempt to cut out a semicircle. The same for the quadrant at the bottom here. Cut to later in the future, I'd to actually recolor the twos with my opaque gel pen as there were some bad bleedings. As expected, some bleeding. Using the same stencil, that size. Gonna line up the stencil to the edge of the page. Tracing a semicircle out of it. For the center semicircle, I'll be using one size larger. For the smaller semicircle, I'll be using a different stencil here. lining up the mid guidelines accordingly, using micron size 8. Same for this side too. We'll use my ruler to draw straight lines. Temporarily writing the title in archival pen, listing down my key symbols. So far, no changes from my current 2022 ones. I can tell you I'll be changing this whole thing later. We'll be using these 2 washi tapes for the rest of the setup. That's the theme of my setup. Cut up washi semicircles. To cover these ugly ghostings, bleedings, I'll use my white gel pen. So yeah, like I said earlier, I redid this part. The bleedings were too horrendous. Using my gel pen to go over the title. It'll dry opaque later. Now, using these very seldomly used white tapes, I'll stick them onto a scrap of paper. Using my 1-inch round puncher, I'll punch out a couple of the designs. Lots of doodles for my resolutions. Now with the same washi tapes, I'm gonna fill in those blank boxes. Time to trim them all up. Got to cover all these bleedings later with a white gel pen or correction fluid. Making photo boxes where I'll paste photos of the best moment of the month later in the year. some drop shadows for these frames. Then I'll just mat up each of the frames. And to follow the theme, washi tape. A cut up quadrants there. Yeah, didn't notice I'd smashed up my dots while drawing those logos. I've already done some tiny markings here to place my washi tape masking. Anyways, this growth tracker is for me to track my follower counts for both my IG accounts and my YouTube channel. I won't jot down my threshold numbers for now. We'll do that at the end of the year when I know where my respective accounts stand. Cutting a semicircle. This gel pen is pretty translucent while wet. Now, this page, for those of you who've watched my previous 2022 setup, you'll know that I find this page useful, at least for me. It's basically a page to list down your last wishes. I mean, you'll never know when you will die. So, I wanted that if I were to die someday, someone will know what to do with my belongings. Like my savings, my art supplies, who I wanted them to be passed down to. I know an official will can be made for that, but that's too pricey and troublesome, so this will do. Semicircle cut out again. Pasting some more washi designs on scrap paper. Then punching out some of the designs. And yeah, I cut out 2 more semicircles there. Now, this is a spread I've seen some people did. Wanted to try it out this time as it seems fun. It's almost like a habit tracker. Only these are things you'd assume you'd do only a few times a year. So after everything, I realized I did a big mistake. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. What's this extra row for? Gah, what was I thinking? So, after contemplating, I'll just make some bars as a decorative row. I did thought of using correction fluid, but thought it'll only make it more ugly. Embracing my mistake is the only way to go. Writing my title temporarily here with a thin marker. Washi tape time. Yep, giving alternate colors. Washi time again. Highlighting the Saturdays and Sundays. I can still see my temporarily written title there, so gonna trace over it with my gel pen. With my washi tape to these markings, trim the ends first, then cutting a semicircle around my title. This page will basically be my overall yearly calendar in this book. I'll be filling in some important dates onto those pages later. Finally, time for a flip through. I intend to make my 2023 bullet journal all washi later, meaning no illustrations whatsoever. My markers will be the only other decorative element used. So only this front yearly setup will have some doodles on it. The rest should be all just washes. Don't know if it'll be easier to film, but let's see. Also, these are the spreads that I have found most useful since I started bullet journaling back in 2016. So I'm still sticking with these. Only that bingo page is new. So that's about it. Should you have any questions, do comment down below. For now, thank you for watching, happy journaling, and bye bye.